Lacerations. Hey, today we're going to talk a little bit about lacerations like I promised you. Two of the guys that are on the click had cut their fingers while playing with knives. Gotta be careful with playing with knives. Not running with scissors, playing with knives. Anyway, real quick, lacerations can happen anywhere, but it's usually on the fingers, fingertips, right? You have a flap laceration, and then you have a total laceration where the tip of the finger or a chunk of the meat of whatever is totally boink, gone, or cut off. Okay, so one of the things you want to do most immediately is to irrigate it, get it under running cold tap water to stop the bleeding, constricted vessels, whatever. Clean it out, the debris, whatever, okay, so forth. Some people will stick it in their mouth, which isn't always a good thing because your mouth is kind of dirty, but until you can get some water, it might be the good place to put it. I'm not recommending it, though. And you might want to also just take your other finger or hand and do a pressure point on it just to stop the bleeding. Because you need to be able to see the flap or the laceration, whether you need stitches, whether you can just push it back down again and it will, heal together, so forth. Okay, so you want to be able to see it. So you want to get something cold on it, either it's cold water, some slush, whatever, and to see what you're dealing with. Okay, when you're done that, you might want to get something like a betadine swabs, iodine swabs, whatever, and bacitracin. We used to use Zeroform in the operating room here. Zeroform, it's a gel, or just some actual, Vaseline or whatever. It's in a tube for packing to cover the wound. And you want to sort of bandage it down. So I'm not taking these out, but you guys have seen. I'm sure you've done it before. You have your flap, which is this first one, number 1 diagram is your flap tear. It's not totally away from the finger. Okay, you take the Band-Aid. Let's say the tear is here in the front. Take the Band-Aid in the back, pull it over so that the flap is pulled down, not so tight that you cut off circulation, but snug enough that it stops the bleeding. And then you take another Band-Aid and you just wrap it around that whole thing. You guys that work with your machinery, electricians, woodworking guys, you know this stuff. Okay. And then assess it once the bleeding's done. Later on down the road, you'll find that the flap will shrivel a little bit, the bleeding will stop, and just keep a Band-Aid on it and keep it clean. And usually they will adhere and come back together again. If this does not happen, then you may have to have it sutured. Okay. Now, when you have a total laceration, okay, in Figure 2, all right, in Figure 2. You have a total laceration, all right. It's not always good to try to put the piece back on under a compression type dressing because that piece is very viable to not having enough blood flow to keep it alive. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get it, put it in a little medicine cup or in some sort of a cup with some ice or crushed ice or really cold water. Wash it off a little bit, save it. Okay. Do the same thing, get this under cold water and everything, although you're missing your tip, and put a little compression on it. And what you might want to do is take a 4x4 sterile pad of some sort, cut it in half, wrap it over top, bandage it up with some cling or gauze or an ace wrap or whatever, and get yourself to the emergency room so they can take a 4-0 nylon suture and suture the tip back down on your finger. Okay, then if you want, you can take a tongue depressor and you can splint it out straight with some tape in between the joints. You tape in between the joints and give yourself a little bit of a bumper on the splint so that you're not jamming your finger into something. You have something that protects the finger on the very tip. Okay, and you'll also find that tip will either live and be viable and reattach itself and remodel the fingertip, or it will shrivel up, get small, and not attach at all and just die. And that doesn't matter because what will happen is tissue will granulate back into the tip of your finger. So you should be okay. All right. This isn't the end all. All right, I'm just talking about some simple things. So always put the flap back on. Don't take it off. And if it is detached, save it and make sure it's clean, and take it with you so that it can be put back, together, just like an earlobe or whatever, tip of your nose, it might bite you, whatever. Okay, all right. Going from there, I want to once again. I'm a big book guy, and the more you know, the less you need. All right. You guys have heard of naturopaths. These are guys who set up homeopathic medicines. There's a little booklet here. You can go to some health food stores. They have them in there, and they create tinctures and tablets and different things for stress and sleep. And it's off the wall medication. It's what your apothecary used to make with his pestle and bowl, and crunching up certain things and mixing them together and making salves and lotions and potions and all kinds of magic. He also tried to make gold. So anyway, a naturopathic or homeopathic guide is good to have. Here's a nice little book I got at one of the tractor and farm places. It's the Natural First Aid Handbook. Okay. They also have different remedies in here for at-home remedies that have been used. They use different echinacea, arnica, a lot of vinegar had been used, so forth and so on. It's a good source. Scorpion stings, convulsions, hives, like poison ivy, poison oak, whatever. Good little book to have, okay, to read up on. I may have broached this subject before, but here, this is the Healing Secrets of the Native Americans. You got to remember they were here before us using all this stuff, and a lot of the mountain people got it from native peoples who lived up in the mountains with them. They, once again, they talk about hawthorn and the different trees and plants, magnolia, what you can do with them, sassafras. If you're a Boy Scout, you know all about sassafras. Physical characteristics, where it's found, methods of use. So I'm saying these are all on you. It's not on me. These are resources. I'm just recommending them. You use them at your own risk. Do things from a book at your own risk. I am not a doctor. I am not promoting it. I'm just saying it's a resource. It's out there to be used. Okay. Another thing that Outside Magazine published a while back through National Geographic is the Ultimate Hiker's Gear Guide. And the fellow who wrote this book has been on numerous backpacking trips, Pacific Trail, Appalachian Trail, Trail to Mars, Trail to the Moon, whatever. And he's a light hiker, and he talks about trekking poles and sleeping bags and socks and sleeping bags and pads. He gives his recommendations. Okay, it's very nicely colored. All right. What else do we have? Land navigation, GPSs. I hate GPSs because you got to keep them charged. All right. He has a small essentials, like for hygiene and so forth. Stoves, tried and true for cooking. There's all you bushcrafters with a cast iron pot. Don't salivate now. And then you got what else here? You got your power stoves, your gas stoves, there you go. Doug will like this. He loves the jet boil, and so forth. Okay, good book. One last resource is How to Stay Alive in the Woods by Bradford Anger. Now, this was given to me by my wife, who figured out that this guy liked to be in the woods, and this would be a good book for him. And it is a really good book. It has a lot of outside tips. It has a lot of hunter things, and there's bow drills in here too, and using the North Star for navigation, and how to eat porcupine and beaver. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the guy that pushed like granulated oatmeal and stuff like that, and oat bars and whatever a long time ago. If I'm correct, but this is an older book, and I'll tell you what, guys and ladies, if you There's fish hooks. This is where I left off when I was reading, improvising fish hooks. Okay. Find the old books. They're the ones that are going to keep you tried and true. All right. When I think about it, I'll do something else. Makeup. There we go. Okay. I'm back. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Hey, Bob, I'd like to see this. Bob, I'd like to see that. Like I said before, I stay within the resources, medical area. I'm not here to be rich. I don't get paid. It's just my general knowledge of things that I'm trying to pass on, help you guys and ladies out in the outdoors. So I'm trying to get one more subscriber. That will give me a quarter of 100. I'll have 25 subscribers. Whoopee! I might even do a giveaway. Not. Anyway, you guys have a safe and wondrous day. Try to get outside if it's not raining in your area. God bless you. It's the Grizz. Out.